What's up, everybody, and welcome to another casual podcast with your boy Brian, the casual Brian, coming to you today with another guest. I mean, that's two guests in 1 week. What is going on? This casual podcast is a special casual podcast because I got a very special guest, my leading lady, Miss Darsell Obregon. Say what's up, Darsell.
Ooh, hola.
We are coming to you live from Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And for those who are listening on the podcast, thanks for stopping by. Let's go ahead and get that switch up. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you see that?
I
You see what
see.
I'm doing? I got
All the
moves now.
technology,
All the
sweetie. All the
technology. You know what I
technology.
mean? So yeah, if you don't know who Darcel is, I'm going to let her talk about who she is a little bit, and then we're going to get into some hot, hot topics. Some hot takes. We got some hot takes. I should put like an offense, a spoiler, like a stream. Like you may get triggered listening to this stream. So
Right.
if you're
Yeah,
easily
that's true.
offended, then we're sorry. But Darcel, why don't you tell all the casual podcast listeners a little bit about yourself?
I'm casual Brian's wife. That's all they need to know.
That's it. I mean that's all you're gonna say. You're not gonna not gonna talk about like singing, a singer.
That's right. I'm a
Uh,
singer.
she's an
That's
aspiring comedian. All the things. All
not
the
yet.
things.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm a funny lady. I'm a funny lady. We'll see what happens with that.
We will see. We will
All
see
right.
in approximately 3 weeks at a open mic that I am not allowed to go to. Apparently,
We'll
that's
see. We'll
that's
see what happens.
so okay. So okay, casual podcast or streamers. Do you think this is cool? So Darcel, now this is this, she calls me into the room. She's like, "Hey, just so you know, at the end of my class, we have like an open mic situation where we're going to be doing our, end of class
Or set.
presentation, our set, but you're not
Mm-hmm.
invited." So
No,
like, so like,
exactly. It's like anything. It's like a performance that someone has. If you don't want them to be there, you have to respect that.
that's fine. That's fine. But this is my issue.
No, but
I
I'm not
was,
a liar.
I was called in to be uninvited to something that
No,
I
I'm
had
just
no
like
idea.
informing you about something because then I didn't want it to be like after the fact. I'm like, oh, you know that I had to like perform a set, and you would be like, what?
I wouldn't have been like, what? I'd have been like, well, how did it go? That's how it would have been.
All
So
right,
that shows how little you know about the casual
I
Brian,
don't know you.
because those who follow me know that I stay casual. I put the casual in casual podcast
Always
and
cash,
the
always
casual
cash.
Brian. I am always casual. Sometimes people tend to think that it's an influence. Those people are police officers. But yeah. So okay, a lot happened this week.
Too much.
So one thing that me and Darcel like to do is we like to watch The View in the
Uh
morning.
oh.
She likes to watch The View, and I enjoy watching.
Oh, and I'm gonna ask you about something too. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Go ahead.
And I enjoy watching it with her because it's a good way to start the morning, have conversation, and it's generally fun to watch. Um, it's funner when Whoopi's there, which brings me to my topic. Whoopi Goldberg. So this is a very interesting situation because
Yeah,
as soon as it happened, I told
I
Darcy.
saw it live.
We both saw it
You
live.
didn't see it live.
I saw it live.
You didn't.
Yes, I did. We were there. I was there. I didn't know that she got in trouble. That's the part that I missed.
Wait. We saw. You were with me and we saw it live, and you didn't know that it was like. I was like, oh, when she said that, I knew it was gonna be a problem.
I I didn't think
Oh,
anything of
you
it.
saw it. Oh, I didn't know you were. Okay, okay. I thought you saw it later, like in another.
No, I was sitting right there with you.
I
I
don't know
mean
where I am right
we
now.
had to quarantine. So where
That's
could I have
right.
been? We went to get tested that day. Um
Working as you
we both
always
got the
do.
vid. We both got the vid. But staying on task.
The Amarion, so it's good.
But see, even that's interesting because as soon as she said it, I didn't think anything of it at all, like at all. But you instantly thought, "Oh, she stepped in it."
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yes, because it is you you can't say if it's whatever your opinion is, which again, I love Whoopi. I think this is all m- craziness. Um, I think that she made a mistake and she apologized. Like she's a human being. Like I think this is all very bizarre. Um, but I do think that even if that's your opinion, it's just it's just like in the Holocaust that isn't what happened. Even if it's made, even if the Nazis made up like that Jews are another that's what they said. That's why the Holocaust happened, because it was like a separate race that the Nazis were saying, and they
Right.
wanted to exterminate them because they weren't human. Like even if it's not like a fat I don't know, that deeply about it. I know there's Jewish people from all over the world of different races, great. I don't know, I'm not an expert in that, but it's like even if it's not factual, that's what the Nazis used,
Right. And
like yeah.
you technically have some Jewish and ancestry, right?
1% from a million years ago, so sure.
Isn't that how you're gonna get your Portuguese I thought that's what the whole
Don't be
deal
telling
was.
everybody.
Is it a secret?
Yes,
Was it a
yes.
secret?
No, no, no. But yes, yes. My Portuguese citizenship. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can get Portuguese or Spanish citizenship because of this. If you have Jewish,
Yes.
I mean, there's lots of things like this. There's they do this for Native Americans as well. If you have any Native American insight in you,
Uh-oh. Well, I have indigenous, like Colombian, and yeah,
I
to
think
look
they mean
into
like
that.
U.S.
Native USers?
because apparently there's
Well, I have
tons of
Native
Americans.
Americans. Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm
Like
saying.
I'm Native American. The US is not the only America.
Yes, this is something
That's
that I've
another
come.
thing.
This is something that I guess, and that's another thing. So you instantly thought something. I didn't think anything of it. Like I heard her say it. I was like, oh, okay, but it didn't seem like there was that awkward silence on stage, but there
Right.
wasn't like
Exactly.
there wasn't a big pushback. So then the next day you're like, oh, did you hear about Whoopi? I was like, no, and you were like, those comments, she got in trouble because she was getting ready to do her apology. She was gearing up to do her apology, and I said instantly to you, they're gonna come for her. They're gonna come for her,
Right. And I was
and
like, "What?"
they're gonna cancel. They're gonna cancel her because I know how this goes, and one good indicator, it's the same with Joe Rogan too, which we will get to next. Uh, you could tell that he's in trouble because he was giving an apology, and whenever you're giving an apology, and his apology was done with Spotify, like in connection with Spotify. So he gave his apology, he dropped it on Instagram, and then Spotify put out a statement, about it. And it's still not
Mhm.
going away. Today, I saw on CNN, I didn't watch CNN. I don't watch CNN like that. But I saw on the YouTube channel
On the
that
YouTube.
on the YouTubes that the CEO of Spotify made a comment about Joe Rogan that I'm interested to see what he said. Um, but yeah, so they shut Whoopi down for 2 weeks, and
The thing
instant.
go ahead.
No, no, you go.
No, it's just the thing, I think for me, it really has taught me, honestly, like the well, no, there's like a few things that I'm thinking. So I love Whoopi. Of course, I mean, she's liberal. I assume she's on the View. She's not a conservative, like whatever. And it's like, look, you and I have had this conversation. I mean, not to change. I mean, it's not a change of topic, but to talk about someone else. It's like I was gung ho.com about getting Roseanne fired. Like I was like,
Yeah,
yes, like what is that? Like, and you were always like, no. just stop watching the show, whatever. Like,
Right.
no. Which I don't remember. Did Roseanne like apologize?
No,
Did
she
she?
didn't.
I know.
She see that's another thing that like a lot of the people
Yeah,
making
that's another thing.
comparisons. They don't.
That's
The
another
Roseanne
thing.
didn't make it an apology. She made a BS like
Right.
excuse about
Yeah,
taking
like was yelling and
Ambien
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But I think whatever that's a different thing because I think that apologizing is definitely a huge difference. That Whoopi was
But does
immediately.
but do apologies really even matter? Because it's not that
But that's what I think that they should, or if not, it doesn't. And then it's like that was my point. It's just like, well, why do people have to? Why should people apologize and try to learn and grow for what?
but
For
it's
what if
not
you're gonna get
it's
like for what?
well, yeah, now definitely I agree with that. I'm not saying that people shouldn't learn from mistakes, people shouldn't apologize if they are sorry. I just have a hard time believing that people are sorry. You know what I mean? Like I know it's cynical, but it's just like I feel
You
like
think it's just like the company being like, you have to.
it's all the companies saying you have to do this. It's all theater. It's like I don't think Joe Rogan cares about anything that he said, you know, which is why I have so much respect for someone like Dave Chappelle, who, in the face of like all kinds of pressure, has still yet not apologized. It's like that
But
joke he
with
makes about Kevin
anything,
Hart.
mhm. Oh yeah, like the tour. Yes, but I mean, I don't know. You could choose. I get it. That's like a never ending. Yes, could it be that people are pushing them to apologize? 100%. But it's like, okay, then we should
Right.
never believe anyone for anything when they apologize. It's just like you could snowball into so many things. Um, but with what you were going to go to Rogan.
I mean, we can kind of bounce around. I think it's all this to me. It's all the same. That's what I talked about today on my stream on my podcast. It's like, what's the point? What are they really? What are the you said I'm progressive, like Whoopi. What are progressives trying to accomplish? Are they trying to alienate people like Whoopi and Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle? Is that what they want?
Sure.
You know what I
And
mean?
I think that a lot of people, like you and I talk about this, that I think it doesn't exist anymore. And again, I've been really like I'm like like of course, like I mean, we live together, we are husband and wife, and you've seen my like progression of like I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, wait. What is this cancellation? I guess when it hit,
Right.
when it like hits home, I guess someone well, I love Chappelle. I love Whoopi and Joe. I really like because you've gotten me into him, and I'm just like, does has anyone ever like followed these people? Like anyone who's like Joe Rogan and Chappelle, have they ever? Do they know anything? Have they listened to anything that like their podcast or their comedy special? Like it is like these people are not malicious. Whoopi, of course not. It's like, oh my gosh, what was it? Comedian Billy on the street. Eckner is
Billy
his
on the
last
street, the
name.
guy with the mic, and he walks up to people, and yeah.
Hilarious. So he's like, he tweeted, yeah, yesterday or something. He was like, oh, Giuliani is in The Masked Singer, and which is another thing. You know that
Oh
about
my
that?
god, yeah. They two of the judges walked off, right?
Yes. And so he's like Giuliani's and The Masked Singer and Whoopi's um is suspended for 2 weeks. I feel so safe. Thank you so much. And he's Jewish. And it's
Right.
like it's just like I've seen a lot of tweets of like people are outraged about clearly a woman. She made a mistake 100%. I think what they did was great. They brought the president, I believe he's the president of the oh my gosh, what is it? The association of like of just against injustices of there's a name of it, but of the
I
Jewish
can look it up.
organization. Yeah. That's awesome. And it's just like people have not talked. I had to tell you, for example, about like, oh, did you see the Nazi like gathering in Orlando? And it's like, oh no, like,
ADL. ADL.
uh-huh. Yeah, that he came on the next day, was talking about it. Whoopi, I thought it was super sincere, everything that she I don't know. Could it
I mean,
be
I
that
thought
I
so too. I thought so. I thought it was sincere, as a sincere apology as you're going to get with people in media. You know what I mean?
but I don't could it be because I love her and I'm by sure, like, of course,
Definitely.
I'm sure that plays a part, but it's like no one like, people I've also seen tweets from Jewish people, this is what I'm saying because it, of course, matters what Jewish people, in my opinion, you know how I am, whatever the people feel, that's what's important. I'm not Jewish, I mean, 1%, but it's like you it's important. Okay, what do the Jewish people feel? Okay, and
I
I've seen many different. I've seen a spectrum though. Like I've
I
seen so many, and Jewish people are just like I've seen a few that are like, wow, like Whoopi, who's clearly not an anti-Semite and made a big mistake, and the Orlando people like with Nazi flags and swastika. It's like, nah, whatever.
but here, so okay, I'm gonna drop. I'm about to drop two hot takes. First,
Oh.
here we go. First, was it a big mistake or was it just a simple mistake? That I
No, I
mean,
think it no, I think for Jewish people, I think it was a
so
mistake, a
so
big mistake,
this is
yeah.
something we differ on. I think
Mhm.
that this idea that if it affects the community, their opinion matters more. Um, and this is something I spoke about this morning. I don't. It's not going to impact me the same as it is if I was Jewish. You know what I mean? Like
You
me
uh-huh.
hearing that I concede
Of
fully that
course.
if I was a Jewish person, I'm sure those words would impact me differently.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was that big of a deal. I don't think it was I think it was a mistake. I think she was wrong. I
But
can definitely agree with
you
that.
and of course, you and me, I mean, we have private conversations that you and I are very different in that because to me, if I was Jewish, I'd be like, and you know that I'm like that with my people, with Hispanic people. It's like I don't care what you have to say. If you're not, I don't care. Like I care like with black issues, what black people have to say. It's like what anyone else is saying, and you and I
But
have had our things about like people talking about Cuba, and I'm Cuban. I'm like I don't care what anyone has to say. Like
right, and but see, here's the problem with that. We all live together. We are in a society together. And so it's like this idea that if you're not from this group, you have no say in the matter. That I mean, that's not the reality because people are allowing their opinions to influence other people. I understand. I It's kind of like this whole argument that's happening with like affirmative action and the judges and stuff. Yes, in an ideal world where everybody's opinion is being respected, or to say the affirmative action, if everyone's getting an equal shot, you don't need affirmative action. But we know that's not the case, and so certain people get to say, no, you don't get to have a say in the matter. But then when it's their situation, everybody's got something to say about it. And a perfect example of that is the simple phrase Black Lives Matter. That will not be accepted by a wide range of people because it's either got to be all lives matter or blue lives matter or all Black lives matter, which is a division amongst Black people. So it's like
yeah.
I
But
have a
you and I have talked but exactly. I don't care. But
right.
that's
You're
like the
consistent.
same point. It's like I'm just like I have nothing to talk about. If you're saying all lives it's like I don't it doesn't even bother me. I'm like we're not on the same planet, like on the same I don't even know what you're saying. Like I'm like not you, Brian, but like a
I know what you
person
mean.
who says that, I'm like okay, have fun. Like I don't there's not I don't I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I again, I think I like to start from the fact that the way I'm looking at this is through the lens that is not that important to me because I am not a part of that community. And so I have
But
to
that in itself is a point. It's
but
like
that's
this
not a point.
I I think so because exactly you're not a if you're not a part of that community, sure, you could have an opinion. Everyone has opinions about everything, of course. But it's like it doesn't affect you the same way. So if Jewish people are saying this is anti-Semitic, this is what It's like,
So,
I have to believe. What am I going to
but
say? No, it's not.
but
I'm not
I
Jewish.
would agree with you if simply conceding that what they say matters the most doesn't affect other people. Because
What they say. Okay, so you're saying,
I'm saying
since
that
they say that,
their
hmm
belief has a direct effect, is having an effect on Whoopi Goldberg right now. So whether I believe it or I agree
hmm
with them, what they believe is having an effect on other people. That's why I say
uh-huh.
if it can affect someone else, it can't just simply be whatever they say is right. Because
I get what you're saying.
you see, yeah, you see what
Right.
I'm saying?
But
It's like we
I
have to
see.
have some kind
hmm
of agreement on, like, we all agree you can't say this type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
And now we're all held accountable to that agreement. But
But
if
the thing is that with what you just said, which I think is what you were saying earlier about that we're not in a perfect world, but I think, I mean, not even in a perfect world, but I think that no, this recent canceling stuff, it's like no one should be canceled. Like you,
100%
like
agree.
what? So I don't know. I think that kind of like takes away what you're saying, no? Because it's like
Sure,
you
yeah.
can't fire her. Like let's say you can't. Like it's like not a thing. You can't fire her. Whatever. It's like okay, don't every Jewish person or a person who is like so offended and hates Whoopi, that's their choice. Exactly. Do not watch The View again. Like
Yeah.
I don't want it. Like so. I think that's
Yeah, that I mean,
what it
I
is.
would be fine with that. If Jewish people who felt offended by Whoopi said, "I'm not going to
Or
watch
non yeah, and non
not the View
like
anymore."
Meghan McCain, who's up in arms,
Oh my
who's
god.
now up in arms, and, and I didn't have a problem. I liked, Meghan on The View. I would never talk, like, mad crap about her, and, I would
Yeah.
just be annoyed sometimes, like bratty, but I like McCain, I have no problem. But I'm like, "Wow, girl,
Yeah.
like, relax." Like,
But
she fully and didn't she, like, have an episode with, like, Asians? Didn't Megan, like, say
yes,
something offensive?
she's had multiple things that were worthy of being at least suspended. But and I love I love David Packman, but I think he's wrong on this. I think he's wrong about this, how this is a false narrative being presented. There are different consequences for speaking about different groups of people. That's just facts, you know.
But you say it's just it's interesting because how I mentioned to you recently, I mean, I don't know, because I'm trying to think of, like, Hispanics, and it's like, I think we're just, like, so new here that it's like, we're like, "Hey, no, whatever, I don't know." Like, there's, like, no one like, there's I can't think of, like,
Dude,
things with
Hispanic people, Latino and Hispanic people, there are no consequences for saying something about them. Look at Trump. Look what he said.
oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
he was I mean, it's like people openly talk about, like, if you say immigrant, you're not talking about anybody else other than a Hispanic or a Latino person.
You
That's
think
it's
not even, like not even black, it's, like, brown
No,
people?
no, it's brown. When people say immigrant, it is brown, and it's
Mhm.
even a specific type of brown that most people have in mind, and it blows my
Like
mind.
indigenous.
Indigenous brown, you know what I mean? Like, so a Mexican person who has an indigenous look, and I'm
Which
not
that's
saying
what
that.
people are thinking, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
that's what
all
I'm saying.
Mexicans, but
That's a
yes.
stereotypical
Mhm.
uh person that someone has in mind, and a typical American has in mind. And that's crazy to me. And it's and
Yeah, but whatever. No, we're getting off topic because yeah, aside from I literally don't I don't know. Maybe because I just got here, like, and I'm first generation. I don't even think about anyone talking about Hispanics. I'm like, okay, whatever, bye. Like, and I'm also from Miami, majority. We all look the same. I didn't grow up with all that stuff, so it's bizarre to me. But it's just interesting because I think each group, each oppressed, marginalized group, it feels the same. Like it's like
yeah,
black people, Jewish people, LGBTQ people. I'm sure. I mean, because nothing I don't know that I'm aware of has happened recently, but like Muslim people, whatever. It's always like, oh, yeah, no, but you could talk about us all day. But if you talk about them, that's it. You get canceled. Everyone
I
says
think
the same thing.
I think that that's true, but I do think there is a difference of severity in severity of how people get punished. I think, but it's true. I do think it's true, and I am of the community of African Americans, and I think African Americans get it from everywhere. We get it from the right, and we get it from the left, man. And
Like the
it's
Jewish people say.
yeah, well, yeah, they have a different thought. They have a different thought. And it's not to say that they're not right. It's just to say that I think that when you're close to something, it might become distorted. Saying that without while saying that I do personally believe that in this country, African Americans have it the worst. I think that if you just examine the status of African Americans, we have it the worst. And everybody in this country feels comfortable looking down on Black people. And so, you know, everyone has their own struggle. Even white people, they have their struggle. Some of them have their struggle, but you can't. There's nothing that someone can say that can convince me that they have a more difficult struggle. Anyway, moving on, or kind of staying in the same place. So Joe Rogan, right?
Hmm.
I
Which
mean,
we are
actually,
fans
you really
of.
haven't, but you didn't answer my question because
Oh,
you're the progressive, I'm the moderate, and I'm the moderate. What are progressives trying to do? What's the goal? What's the end
I love how you
game?
were like, "What are y'all?" No, no, but it's not. No, 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 no. But I see what you're saying though. Like what I'm saying, I with Joe. I mean, I've never agreed at all. Like I'm just like, because I've seen so much stuff with
Right,
you of his. Like
right.
I think
The-
he's great, and it's like, do I agree with so much? Oh, that's what we've talked about, you and I also. Do I agree with everything that he said? Absolutely not. The same way that I don't agree with some things that Chappelle says, and I think he is the goat of our time. I don't have to agree with everything that everyone says, and like not like I
right.
do think that there's I mean, of course it gets tricky, and that's why I'm like, okay, I don't know where the line is. It's a slippery slope. Like
It's personal.
yes, but it's like if you morally and so many things, and that's why it's so difficult because how do you explain that? It's it like how you and I have talked about, like I cannot have a conversation with like a hardcore Trump person or hardcore Trump. I can't because I'm like, how do you support? I don't care what he did. I don't care. I don't care that you have more money in your 401k. None of it matters to me. I think he is a monster. So if you support him, to me it's like you align yourself with so many things that for me are just morally despicable and unethical. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of. I think it's the same world, but it's like I wouldn't care. Like if what is it, Tucker? Which I mean, that's another thing. Tucker Carlson. It's like if he gets canceled, it's like he's horrible. To me, that's not even canceling. It's like no, you're like horrible.
But and Tucker is horrible. He's a coward. But I would never want Tucker to be canceled. You know what I mean? Like I did that. It's not. This is the thing I hate about cancel culture the most. One of the things. Two of the things. One, a lot of the times people don't even look at the stuff that they're trying to cancel, which goes into my
Sure,
second point. You're trying to have
sure.
influence on something that you have no say in the matter. You don't care
It's
about
yep,
it. You don't. It's not. See, the problem I have with
right.
people, and this is not just progressives, because it's the right too. They want to get something without paying something. You know what I
But
mean?
isn't it Sorry, sorry, go ahead.
No, because like if I say I'm boycotting Tucker Carlson, I haven't given up anything. I don't watch Tucker Carlson. It doesn't inconvenience
Right, we
me.
don't right,
You
right,
know what I
right.
mean? Like if I said I'm going to give up
Right.
acai
Like
bowls.
me not watching because I'm still watching because she's suspended, and that's fine. You gotta do what you
Uh,
gotta do. I know you're not with it.
I'm not
I'm
with it.
not
I
right.
hope she quits.
I'm not
I personally hope she quits.
I'm not if she is fired, I'm out. And I mean, you know better than anyone. That isn't my show.
Yeah.
So and that will be for real. Like, oh my God. Like that will be a big deal for me. Like that's not like that
Yeah.
is something I have watched
Right.
since the beginning. And
Exactly.
it's like, no.
And that's what I'm saying. For you to stop watching The View, that's a big deal. It costs you
Mm.
something, you know, and I'm tired of people wanting change but not wanting to put anything in the middle to get the change. They don't want to, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, but our generation doesn't do well, you and I have talked about that too, that it's like Neil Young and Joni Mitchell from these artists, of course, I mean, superstars from the 60s and 70s. It's like nobody's what? This is
right,
like who's doing it? No, because that's their generation. Like how
right.
amazing, and and civil rights and everything. That's the generation that it's like, no, 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 no. You're going to sacrifice in order to get like really make change, and we're like,
But
no,
our I mean,
I'm not comfortable.
our society has been growing ever more into the self. You know what I mean? Like it's all about you. Live your best life. Do you. And that mentality is going to affect how you approach civil rights. When we think about civil rights, we think about changing our profile picture on Facebook. We think about blacking our Instagram thing. And those things are not like meaningless, but in
Hmm.
the grand scheme of things, they're not really causing change. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? The NFL did all that stuff, all that
And there's
stuff,
still a racist organization.
extremely racist. And people
Hmm.
people struggle with this like this comparison, plantation mentality. It's 100% a plantation mentality. Are you
But isn't
kidding me?
but isn't it okay? So do you so what we were talking about, like, oh, our generation, which the football players are what, 30s? They're all generation or
They're
20s?
young. They're younger than us. Really, they're in their 20s, most of them,
And
except
it's
for Tom
just
Brady,
like,
who's like 75 years old.
stop. But it's like I I mean, I think you agree. I don't know. You'll say if you do or not. But it's just like, okay, wouldn't the players of these organizations that whatever well, football that we're talking about, that it's what was it, 70% black players? It's like,
70% black.
okay, well, we're not I don't know. Like, of course, it's easy for me to say I'm not a black football player, sure, but it's like, wouldn't it have been? I could see it like back in the 60s or whatever. It's like I would think that black players would unite and be like, no,
Yeah,
until whatever.
but you make it sound like it's easy. So there's a couple of things. One, think about this. What are you asking them to give up? Because they've spent their whole life to get to this one time where they have 2 to 5 years to make as much money as they can and
Mhm.
and change the life of their family. And you're
Mhm.
asking them to give it up. And here's another thing too. It's hard to get people to do that as a group. You know, I
Uh-huh.
mean, you don't need all the black players. You just need 10 to 15 stars. If you get
Yeah.
10 to 15 stars, then it's going to change, but you won't get it. Because if they're stars, they're making more. And so they're giving up more. So I get it. It's like it's easy for us to say, like, why don't they just band together? It's like, look what happened to Kaepernick. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
guy's
but
he's still, and everybody knows what they did, and he still can't get a job. You would think if they got busted, if the NFL got busted, they would be like, man, we should probably just give this guy a job. It's not gonna really, you
they're
know
like,
what I
I
mean?
don't care.
It's that's how dug in these guys are.
Mhm.
It would be nothing for them to put him on a squad as a
Right.
second string quarterback, pay him whatever, and then it
Mm.
goes away and he can't complain. But they're like, no, he stood up to us. We're not giving him a job because
Like
he needs to
the
know
like
his place.
Flores.
Right. I mean, this guy, I have so much respect for him because he's never going to coach again. It's over.
No, it is. It's a big deal for anyone who stands against, like, I mean, I don't know, authority, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like, it's like
Oppression.
it's yeah, but like, just that is so commendable. Like, that is a big deal. Like it I like, and he's a black man. I mean, Afro Latino. I don't know if he identifies like that, but that's what it says online.
I had no idea
Um,
he was Afro Latino. So
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's like, no, no, no. I'm from
is he
Brownsville, Brooklyn. Calm down.
is he mixed or is he like
No, he's
full?
Honduran.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a whole nother
Mhm,
element to it.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
watch. I wonder if they're going to try to play that angle to like to divide and conquer.
What? How? What do you mean?
They're going to say, "Oh, well, he's not really African American. He's Honduras. You
He's
know, Honduran."
African
I'm not saying that he's not. I'm saying that I'm wondering if they're going to try to play that angle so that because there is a vibe between black people, African American, and Afro Latino.
Oh, you and I have to sit down. I was watching a video about that yesterday. It was really interesting.
It's yeah. I mean, I've heard it. It's kind of one of those things where like I wasn't really aware of it. I mean, I'm just I'm not aware of certain things. But not most people in America are not aware of most things. Because
Correct.
there's a lot to be aware of.
Because we're the
Sometimes
center of the world.
yeah. Well, you mean like America, or you mean like us individuals? Because I would
No,
say
no,
it's
no,
the
no, no.
individual is the center of the world.
Yes, but we as Americans, we're the center of the like that's how we're conditioned.
Oh
Like, as
yeah,
the US people,
for sure, for
we're
sure,
it.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I wasn't aware of it. And then now I'm very aware that there is a vibe between African Americans and Afro Latinos. But I mean, that people are going to have issues. I think some of it is just simply I think a big chunk of what's wrong with our country is a lack of resources because the wealthiest 1% has everything and we're just killing ourselves to get the crumbs. And so, you know what I mean? Like if when you're starving, when you're hungry, when you're lacking hope, you're going to look
Mhm.
at the person closest to you and be like, that's the person that's the problem. That's my issue and so on and so forth. But I mean, that's a far too deep conversation to just run
For
by.
now. Yeah.
We're gonna have to run by that again some other time. It's interesting, man. I'm just like I'm nervous.
Oh, go ahead.
Uh, yeah,
You're
I'm
nervous.
nervous. I'm nervous about this year's election. I think that the Democrats are going to get slaughtered, and I keep trying to build up hope because I think, well, okay, the Republicans are not completely on the same page right now. There's still the
Each
Trump
other
versus
alive.
the classic conservatives, and now there's the DeSantis people and the Trumpers, the true Trumpers, the diehard Trumpers. There's the vaxxers versus the
Mhm.
anti-vaxxers. There's a lot of stuff going on there too. But man, we are eating ourselves alive on the Democratic side.
What I was gonna ask you, I was actually gonna ask you, like, not on here, but I think I could ask you on here, is that because I keep on seeing, and because she's a fighter, I assume that you know who I'm talking about, Carano or something, Caran that people keep on, like, this girl that was canceled, who's a
Oh,
fighter, like, last year.
Gina. Uh,
Right.
yes, yes, yes.
Whatever. And people are like, "Well, what?" "Oh, okay, just McCain, of course, posted, like, hashtag justice for," I think her last name's Carano or something like this. I'm just like, "What?" Then, like,
Gina
the little
Carano,
research. Yeah.
Carano.
Yeah, I don't know if you know about what she got canceled for, but like the little bit that I read, it was like, oh, like, she seems to be spewing that lie, or before she got canceled or whatever, like, about the election fraud and, like, that vaccines are like the Holocaust. Like, I don't understand. And I'm like, wait,
I
why
think
are
I
people
think
like
she
for
I think she
this?
made a vaccine Holocaust comparison. I think
But then why are, but like, what are,
because they're saying that
but I guess why are,
Whoopi got suspended and she got canceled.
uh huh,
But I think, to speak to that, your history matters, context matters. Whoopi made a misstatement.
of course.
This woman believes the things that she's saying, and she is, and it's not just one time that she said it.
Right.
I'm trying to pull it
Right.
up.
Yeah. And I heard that like I think Disney warned her or something. I think like, like it was a few times and she didn't listen and she got fired from, I'm sorry, I'm
Mandalorian.
not very informed with this, but yes.
Here we go. I'm pulling it up right now. Let me see. I can share. I
We
can
need what is it? Jamie? What is it
Jamie.
now?
I can be the
Uh-huh.
Jamie. So Disney and Lucasfilms decide to cut ties with Carano after months of her receiving social media backlash. Carano, Carano often tweeted her opinions on multiple hot button issues like the COVID-19 vaccine, Democrats, face masks, voter fraud, among other political
Mhm.
issues. So it sounds like she was doing a lot. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It doesn't sound like, and this is the person we're talking about,
Yeah.
right?
So she's not a big like you don't know her from like like fighting?
I No, she's not a fighter. She's a wrestler, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, no shade to wrestlers.
I thought she was UFC or something.
No, no, no. I as I know it, she is a WWE or WW something.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
but no, it says MMA. No, that's the Mandalorian. Um, yeah, I mean, the, it drives me crazy, man. You know what I mean? This it's not the same. They're not even close to the same. First of all,
So,
your
uh-huh.
history. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, so what do you feel the same about so the I mean, I don't know how informed you are about her. I feel like we both know like the same amount basically, but it's like, do you think that that woman should have been fired or whatever happened to her canceled?
I you know I'm not a fan of canceling people. Now, what I think you need to let it play out
Mhm.
and stop skipping the step. When you cancel people, you're assuming that an outcome is going to happen, right? So the Jewish community is outraged. They might stop watching and supporting the View, and so we
Mhm.
lose viewership. So to get in front of that, we suspend Whoopi. Let it happen. If the Jewish people stop watching The View and there's a visible decline, then you can respond to that and say,
Well,
hey,
what I've heard though is that with the staff at the View or I don't know, they've been saying the staff. I don't know if specifically the View or ABC, Disney, like so many levels that could be on, were outraged, and that's why the
yeah, I bet they
suspension
were. I bet they
happened.
were outraged. I bet they were outraged. I mean,
Stop.
you
So,
know,
but
it's so yeah. I mean, like I don't like canceling people. I don't like shutting people down. I mean, it 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 pisses me off. It pisses me off that they were outraged. It's like
but what
put
if
on your
you were? Yeah, but what if you were no, I'm honestly asking because I believe that you're straightforward, but it's like, what if you owned a a network and they were and a host of your show is like all lives matter.
right.
You're like, okay, all right.
Yes,
What would you it's just
yes.
like
That's
so you just like would
it.
be
But it
it would
depends on
bother
what the
you
it,
obviously.
it depends on what the show is. I mean, look, I didn't like when they fired Chris Cuomo. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not I'm not for it. I
But
don't get it.
wasn't Chris more with like legal things?
No, no. It's essentially he was canceled because of what he did with his brother. So it's a good point. If I have a network, I don't have to let anybody stay on my network. It's my choice
Mhm.
who I let on there. And if someone is saying all life matter, I can say I don't want you on my network. You know what I'm saying? Um, it would probably be more my choice though. I don't care what people think. If I, if I rock with you, and it also matters who that person is. If I know this person and I have a history with them and they've shown themselves to be
Sure.
somebody, then I'm not going to throw all that out. I mean, God,
Right, like
the
critical, like what we've said, like critical thinking, that it's like you and I have spoken many times because we both love Chappelle, and it's just like, I have friends that I've told you about, the, of the LGBTQ community, who are like, oh my gosh, he is transphobic, the whole phenomenon
right,
that has transpired. And it's like, I'm like, "Oh, what joke? Like, what did you
exactly,
watch his special, whatever?" I'm not even going to watch it. And it's
right.
like, you don't know anything. Chappelle, again, I mean, I think Chappelle's brilliant. I love him. I understand that there's a bias because I simply like love the guy. I think he's great. But if you have seen any of his stuff or an interview, whatever, he's like a love bug. He's just a comedian. And
Yeah,
all and when he turns it off, it's
he's
like
in a
he's just like, we gotta love each other, you guys. Like,
yeah,
this
he's an
can't,
offense.
and it's
He
just,
he's also an offensive comedian, and he's offensive to everybody, and that's why it's just so like, well, you're offended that he was offensive to you, but you're not offended that he was offensive to others. I don't get it. He's offensive. South Park is an offensive show. Family Guy is an offensive show. Anybody that turns on any of those shows and gets personally offended, it's like you're making that choice. In my opinion, that's just my hot take. Anyway, we could go on for days, but we've already gone on way
we
past the time
can't.
that we were supposed to. But I'll definitely have you back.
This is what we do all the time, you guys. That's why we're married.
As long as you're willing to be back, I'll love to have you back. So
Always,
thank you
sweetheart.
for giving us some time, Dars, the one and only Darsell. You can follow her at I am Darsell on
On everything.
Instagram, on everything. Sorry, on everything.
Yeah.
I think she's most active on Twitter, and for all
For
of the
now.
for now.
Mhm.
And thank you to everyone who stopped by and followed. I don't know if we're going to release it in two parts. I think we're going to just drop it in one because I think it was a good conversation.
A
Thank you so
long
much for
time.
checking in on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and the podcasters. I always forget about you. I'm so sorry. Um, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow where it's appropriate, subscribe where it's appropriate. You know what to do. You know how to stay
Yes.
casual. And until tomorrow, Monday, we're going to have Ryan Knock on from Knock It Out uh, Productions, Knock It Out Music. Sorry. And so that's going to be a fun conversation. That's going to be in association with the casual producer. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend and remember to stay casual.
Woo!